to be different. I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them. You need to get used to that.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 censored PlayStation games.
I'm reloaded.
Throwing smoke grenade! Grenade!
What? What's you?
Nothing can save him now.
No!
For this list, we're looking at various PlayStation games that had to be censored, even if the reasoning may be a tad ridiculous. Was there a game you believe got worse with censorship, or did you find it necessary? Let us know in the comments.
I suggest you do not fall behind.
Number 10, Indigo Prophecy.
I need to get out of this neighborhood before the police get here.
Despite a handful of games indulging in suggestive themes and content in the early to mid-2000s, the world, or in this case the United States, was not ready to see raunchy stuff in their games. When it originally launched in 2005, Indigo Prophecy, known as Fahrenheit in other regions, was heavily censored. Just about every bit of nudity and sex was modified in the US release in order to avoid receiving an AO rating.
What have I done?
Had it attained such a label, Indigo Prophecy would have been turned away by most retailers. We suppose opinions change over time, as the 2015 remaster released completely uncensored, including in the US.
Nobody goes anywhere. A crime has just been committed.
Number 9. The Order 1886.
I'm reloaded.
Throwing smoke grenade! Grenade!
Speaking of gritty and occasionally raunchy games, The Order 1886 would go through quite a bit of censorship as well, but not in the United States. This time, the censoring took place in Japan. Any and all scenes showing genitalia were altered, either removing character models and assets entirely, or even making certain scenes less detailed. Whether this detracts from the game or not is all within the eye of the beholder, but CERO, Japan's rating board, has incredibly strict standards for devs, as we'll see throughout this list. So, to say this was unsurprising is a severe understatement.
A shoulder cannon of it.
Number 8. Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise. As some devs, both Western and Eastern, have pointed out, CERO is strict on a whole other level to the point where it can become a real hassle to deal with. However, bearskin isn't the only thing they've gotten fired up about. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise was heavily censored in Japan and had its gore removed. Well, why would they do such a thing? Isn't Fist of the North Star graphic in its manga and anime already? The thing is that CERO is heavily focused on the relationship between the player and the actions they can perform. If the player can enact some pretty graphic actions, CERO isn't going to be too happy with your game. Number 7. Devil May Cry 5.
I'm leaving. I suggest you do not fall behind.
Let us switch back over to America for this confusing one. Many players in the United States who bought DMC5 on the PS4 were upset to find their action-packed game was needlessly censored.
Sorry, Dante.
A ridiculous lens flare was used to cover partial nudity, specifically a bare body, prompting so many people to voice complaints that Sony eventually put out a patch that removed the lens flare. Unfortunately, this patch would only be put in the North American regions. Those who reside in PAL regions are still stuck with a censored version, even though the game is rated PEGI 18 and M for mature.
That's alright, superstar. Go on with your bad stuff. Go ahead, we got this.
Number 6. Beyond Two Souls.
I just want to go out and have friends and be like other girls my age.
You'll never be like them. You need to get used to that.
While we're on the subject of PAL regions, Beyond Two Souls enjoyed a censor-free release in Western regions, and players got to experience the game in all its gore and violence. Although, one could argue it's really not all that graphic. Have you seen Mortal Kombat lately? Still, European and Japanese versions of the game had to censor scenes of characters being killed or hurt.
This is a joke. It's really not funny.
The reason for Europe's censor was so the game could reach a wider audience under a PEGI 16 rating instead of PEGI 18. Meanwhile, the game would be rated M for mature in North America and sell just under 3 million copies within 5 years. Number 5. Tales of Berseria.
Why would you?
Nothing can save him now.
No!
In all honesty, Tales of Berseria wasn't as heavily censored as most of the other games on this list. However, one scene was altered in a way that comes off as over the top. In the Japanese version, Velvet's little brother, Laphicet, is killed by Artorias right in front of her.
Arthur, no!
The imagery, while disturbing and heavy, shows no blood or gore whatsoever. And yet, the American version was changed to show a lengthy spell kill him instead. The flashy and excessive visuals arguably detract from some of the impact the original scene had. Was this change really necessary to hold that T for teen rating if it affects a powerful moment in the story? Number 4. The Last of Us. The gritty atmosphere of The Last of Us was bound to be censored somewhere, especially because of its brutal violence. Surprisingly, even Japan allowed its depictions of dismemberment and gore. Europe, on the other hand, did not. Separated body parts and viscera were completely axed from the game's multiplayer in PAL regions.
All done, let's go!
Both the game and its sequel are rated PEGI 18, so we have to wonder, why the censoring? Is it because multiplayer is often associated more with entertainment and competition? We aren't quite sure, and the unaltered single-player campaign makes the decision even more confusing.
Come on, let's finish them off. There must be just a handful of them left alive.
Number 3. Uncharted: Drake's Fortune.
What'd you do to piss him off?
It's kind of a long story.
As we mentioned with Fist of the North Star, CERO typically has a focus between the player and the actions the players can perform within games. We can certainly see the concerning connection when it comes to the Uncharted series.
Yes, that's what I said. It blew up.
In Japan, Drake's Fortune doesn't show blood when enemies are shot. Considering how much human versus human violence there is between Drake and his enemies, we can at least see the argument there. Thankfully, the violence doesn't impact the story in any way, unlike our next entry. Number 2. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. We're sorry to say that those playing the expanded version of Doki Doki Literature Club on PlayStation are getting the family-friendly version. We mean that jokingly, of course. The game is still rated M for mature in North America. Regardless of the age rating, violence was toned down for PlayStation users, recoloring blood with black. This was to comply with Sony's policies, though this reasoning makes no sense. Remember, Mortal Kombat as well as several other extremely violent games have made their way onto PlayStation no problem. It seems even more ridiculous considering the game warns users upon boot up of the disturbing imagery that lies ahead. The game remains completely uncensored on Switch, Xbox, and PC.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Kingdom Hearts 2.
Sora, Donald, Goofy, I owe you big time.
Kingdom Hearts 2 went through many surprising alterations to make a Western release, and some of the content featured in the original version may come off a bit shocking. Several scenes went through graphical and contextual changes, from the Hydra's green blood to Daisy Duck spanking Donald.
Hello?
One world that arguably got the most changes made was the Pirates of the Caribbean. Some of the lighter material includes changing the undead pirates' rifles to crossbows and Jack Sparrow not having a sword inside his chest, referring to a particular scene in Curse of the Black Pearl.
Jack! You're a fool, Jack Sparrow.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.